Welcome to a brand new podcast here to keep you a little bit busy, give you a laugh during this tough period. We're going to try and brighten up your day. So I've managed to track down Robert Snodgrass, the main man. He's come up with a name. He thinks he's a manager now. So Snoddy, you can tell everybody the name. And the other thing that we're here as well, there's a lot of, you're locked down and it's very difficult. So the mental health and the well-being side of it as well. So we're going to try and speak about a few things in here, but Snoddy, you come up with a name, so you can tell everybody.
No, listen, Chris, it's I think this moment in time, everybody's in a bit of, obviously it's turmoil for everybody, but the biggest thing we're in right now is lockdown. So I come up with a name of lockdown tactics. Is what is everybody's got different tactics. Everybody's going through stuff that probably no used to, especially as being footballers and. We've touched on it many times. Is your full life is sort of scheduled on where you need to be. What time you're eating it, what time you're meeting it, what time obviously the meetings for the teams it. But then,
by the way, the meetings for me to eat they had to be very long. That's for sure.
But for you eating, definitely. There was you had to be doing 15 minutes earlier than everybody. I knew that anyway to get your starter on that sorted. So there's that side of it. Listen, it's I think. We need to, as footballers, people speak about role models, and I listen. I wanted to, I spoke about it yourself a bit before we'd kind of done this, and one thing that's close to your heart was the mental health side of things. Obviously, it's been touched with your family, and I would love to help in that side. And a lot of players right now, I feel, will be struggling. We spoke about it many times, as just to try and. Get out there, try and touch a few people that are now footballers in situations like this right now. That they haven't got the schedule. They've not got people telling them what to do, and it's unusual for all of us at this moment in time. So listen, let's just have a laugh. Light-hearted. Try and communicate with the audience and try and say to them, listen, we're in the same boat as you. We're going through. Difficult time as well with no football, the job, but we're here with our families and our life stopped as well. So we want to communicate with you, we want to reach out, see what everybody's doing and try and have a laugh with them.
Well, I think you've touched a lot of things there. Then you decided to come out with a big one this morning. You thought, I'll go to the top and we'll start us off with someone tonight. So you can introduce our first guest and why he gave up his time to come on and speak to us here tonight.
Oh, listen, what a top man. He was my teammate at Villa, and obviously I knew him beforehand. We sort of the level he's went to, and then getting in there sort of live and seeing him behind the scenes. And I said to you, boy, there's only probably a few people that have kind of taught me a few things on different side. And Russell Martin was one when I went to Norwich and sort of nutrition and how he does things and the way he conducted himself. And
when
then
are you going to start using those tips then?
What's that, mate?
When are you going to start using them?
I'm just not talking you about them because you don't bother about them.
I don't want to know.
And then another one when I went to Villa, he was unbelievable. So it's obviously he introduces to don't he introduce you to him as if he's you don't know him already. But now John, you've come on, and one thing we want to bring you on for is you're doing a lot of charity work just now. Can you tell us a wee bit about it?
Yeah, firstly, pleasure to be on. It's obviously good time slots at Villa and stuff, but just with all this going on with lockdown and stuff, we've all had probably a lot of time on our hands as well to kind of think and reflect a little bit. And you touched on the mental health side that I'm sure we'll come on to later, but for me it was about kind of giving back. And I've been an ambassador for Make-A-Wish for 20 years now, and had the relationships with them, and just touching on that as well while we're there, they've had to cancel over 2,000 wishes for sick and terminally ill kids, which is, it just absolutely breaks my heart. And then we've got the other side of it, which the fantastic work the NHS is doing in the UK has been incredible. And I think everyone kind of brought in and seen firsthand what they're doing. So it's just an opportunity for me with my social media reach, an opportunity to raise some real funds that will make a real impact on families, kids individually that will probably not see the light of day after this. They'll be locked down for the rest of their short lives. And it kind of fills me up. It's heartbreaking that they're never going to see the light of day again, kind of thing, you know. And it's, can we make a small difference to these kids and, you know, get videos or give them their final wish by a video call from one of the celebrities I know and that kind of thing. So hopefully we can. We're on the way to reaching my £250,000 target that everyone has been donating to, which has been incredible.
It's fantastic stuff that you're doing, John. But see if you go right back to the start. How did you come involved with Make a Wish, and you know, what else have you done to? Because I mean, to get to, I mean, you only started last week. To get to £250,000 is unbelievable. And you know, as you say, you'll make such a difference to a lot of people's, not only the kids' life, but you know, to their parents and stuff like that as well. But you know, how did you come and you know, start get involved in all that?
Well, obviously being at Chelsea, we had a lot of kids wanted to be mascot or for their final wish before they passed away, and we had a boy called Oscar come to a Chelsea game. He was 7 years old at the time when he come with his dad at Chelsea. He come with his mum and dad at Chelsea at the time. He was mascot for the Man United game. I kind of had to carry him out because he couldn't walk properly. He was told that he was going to have 6 months to live after that night, and it honestly is like, still now I'm still in touch with his dad. It absolutely broke my heart, and to see what not only him as a boy but what the family were going through just tore me apart, to be honest. And so I spoke to the guys at Make a Wish and wanted to become a bigger part in the foundation, really, and make an impact on kids' lives. But he went on. He was told he had 6 months to live, and I spoke to Mourinho after that night, and we invited him down to the training ground. Said to him he can come whenever he wanted. He didn't go to school, so him and his dad used to come down probably once, twice a week at certain times, and he ended up living for another 2 years. Now I don't know whether that was the fact that he had Chelsea and his heroes to come and sit with, but he would come and sit there, and Mourinho would sit there. Lamps would have a coffee with him and his dad, and we'd have breakfast together. He'd watch train, he'd go home, and it just seemed to pick him up. And his dad was saying, "This is having such a positive response from him. You know, can we continue doing it?" And he went on to kind of live, like I say, for another kind of 15, 16 months, and then eventually he passed away. But like I said, I'm still in touch with his dad and still meet his dad for a coffee. And it's just grown from there, really. That's just one instance, but there's many young kids that they want to come and see their idols and experience a day with their idols. And I was very fortunate at Chelsea to be captain and be part of that process.
And one of the things, John, is when you know, with Chris is saying there, you know, the Make a Wish, but you've also involved NHS in with us. I think like always, we're just sitting back in admiration and how obviously what a great job they're doing, them and the key workers. Are you going to mix the sort of charity, the target of 250,000 when you get there? Are you going to try and mix that up with Make a Wish and the NHS?
Yeah, exactly. That's not. It's going to be split kind of 50-50 down the middle. So 125,000 each, or if we, you know, go beyond that, they'll obviously get more of that. But I just wanted to do. I've got friends who are working in the NHS and kind of leaving their kids at home, and I kind of seen firsthand. So a lot of these kind of frontline workers are having to get carers in to look after their children, that having to go to work and save lives on the front line for us, and then coming home having to cook dinner, go shopping. So this is really it's not just a case of going, oh, there's the money. It's really going personal with people and narrowing it down to individuals of going, what do you need as a family? And there could be 1,000 cases like that. We need our shopping taken care of.
So you're doing it more individually to try and, is there somebody in at the NHS to try and say, Make a Wish, to say, we're going to do individual cases to try and say, right, this is what they need, and we're going to try and make that happen, basically?
Yeah, a Make a Wish, that's pretty straightforward, because most wishes cost around between 5,000 and 7,000, depending on the size of the family, kind of thing. But with regards to the NHS, I really wanted to get personal with that, and kind of, so I've been dealing with Chelsea and Westminster. So being at Chelsea for 22 years, like I kind of know a lot of the staff down there anyway. So have that relationship. So just being able to kind of touch base with those personally just felt a little bit more personal, really. And like I say, that just touching again back on Make a Wish, the thing that people don't see, there's a lot of these kids that are dying in the world and have got months or a week to live, and they've got siblings as well. So the siblings have to go through all this kind of care, and sometimes they can be forgotten as well. So
Yes,
a lot of it
of course.
dealing with Make-A-Wish is going, actually, we're not just focusing on the kids that are ill, we're focusing on the family. So what can we do as a family and give them their last wish? So that might be a trip to Euro Disney as a family, where they get the photos. So we send a photographer and they get the photos that they need from that trip that will last forever. But you also then include the siblings, so brothers and sisters and things like that. So it becomes a family holiday.
So see on that, John, as well, as you touch on there, like, see, even like, I know it's a horrible situation, but as you say, when the kids pass away and everything, do you still keep in contact and try and help the family as much as you possibly can and look after them for a number of months or years, or is that just an ongoing thing?
Yeah, it's just an ongoing thing. I mean, there's more personal ones, and obviously the ones that have come to Chelsea over the years, I'm still in contact with. But you know, there's so much great work that goes on at Make-A-Wish that other celebrities do that kind of don't get publicised, and they want to keep it kind of behind closed doors, that kind of thing. But again, it could be anything. So in the football world, you know, we get to give them their final wish. That could be a Formula One. We see one on my Instagram with a little boy. His wish was to be a police officer for the day. So he kind of sat in the back of the car and off he went and was part of that process for the day, and just unbelievable. So they dressed him up in the police uniform, and his little face just, you know, it just breaks your heart. And when you see it, and when you've got kids of your own as well, you come home and it's like, it really hits home.
That's what I was about to say. Did you, like, I mean, you've started this, you said you've been there for 20 years. I don't think, I mean, your kids are that age. So, you know, did you feel as if, did your thoughts and everything changed, like, when your kids came along?
I think when I had kids, I think I was I'd say I was probably really ruthless, actually, as a young player coming through. All I wanted to do was play football and win. And I didn't really, because I'd had kind of older players like Dennis Wise, Desailly, they was kind of at the forefront of all of this, taking care of that. And I was kind of in the background, a young player, but all I was focused on was my career. And I think once I had kids, I really stepped back and was like, I can make a real impact here, whether it's on 2 people's lives or 10 throughout the year. And each year, as a football club, Chelsea probably do about 500 wishes, and West Ham probably do the same, Snods, as where you get numerous kids come down.
Mate.
You know, there's so much great work
that people, you know, in the outside world, they don't even realise that what goes on a lot of times with football clubs. And, you know, more so for the likes of yourself, John, who's been the captain and the leader of, you know, not only Chelsea, but England as well. The things that you have to, you know, how difficult is that when you get close to these kids and everything, and then you see them pass away? And, you know, does that have an impact on you as a person?
I think definitely does. You know, I've still got pictures of Oscar in the house and stuff, and things like that. So they'll kind of live with you forever. I think there's certain ones that you really get personal with, that you build up a rapport and a relationship with. But like I say, so many footballers kind of do that throughout. And I know sounds like I'm contradicting, but I'm using my social media now to kind of try and gain as much publicity as I can from it. Yeah. But for the right reasons, because I want to raise as much money as possible. Now, that's not for me. The only reason I'm using my platform, and probably why a lot of players don't, is because they want to keep it private, like I've done for the last 20 years. But now it's a real opportunity to really get on the forefront and use my 5 million followers on Instagram and say, guys, I need your help. And to be fair, every one of them stepped up.
So, yeah, of course. We were on your Instagram earlier and seeing your boots and your strips and everything like that. So, you know, what else are you doing to, like, raise the funds and stuff like that as well?
Well, I've got my boots and my shirts and armbands and stuff like that. I mean, I'll give you a quick, I've got it all laid out, actually, so I'm going to kind of go on the move.
Like, he's desperate to show us his house, isn't he? He's desperate.
Feels like MTV Cribs, doesn't it?
He thinks he's in Cribs. He thinks he's in Cribs and his Wi-Fi wasn't even working there.
But I don't know if you can...
Brilliant.
I've kind of been up in the loft today.
Story behind the 3 pair of boots from, like, warm up, first half, second half. What was that all about?
I used to, because obviously the better the boots become, the softer they become as well. So I used to always like my boots really tight. So I'd put them on after the warm up if it was wet, or a lot of kind of clubs would water their pitch. So I'd kind of come in and go, they just feel a little bit loose and baggy. So I spoke to Nike, and Nike was like, yeah, no problem at all. We'll send you 3 boots per game. But then again, it's something like that. You turn something like that. And I used to send every pair off to charity to be auctioned at their events. They used to have Make-A-Wish, Cancer Research, all of them, or I'd give them to supporters in the stadium as well. So again, just even with a small gesture like that, you're kind of making a difference without knowing you're making a difference.
I tried to do that with Nike and they told me to shut up. I get 3 pair of boots every 6 months. There you go.
I think you asked me to get you a couple of pairs, actually.
Anyway, he would put the socks in and everything to make sure they fitted him as well, even if they were a size too big.
I tell you what you asked me to get you. Do you remember you asked me to get you a head tennis trophy?
Snoddy?
Yeah. Listen, Boydy, we're going to get onto that, right? I was just about to say there, he changed these indoor trainers 3 times every time I used to spank him at head tennis. Honestly.
Absolute lies.
Just tell the boys, right, listen, what about the games we used to have and what time did we used to leave the training ground? Tell the boys. Tell them.
So obviously me and Snods were down at Villa. I was in the hotel. Snods had an apartment as well, away from our families. But we used to be there, Snods, didn't we? We used to arrive at probably 8:30 and we'd be there 6, 7, 8 o'clock playing this head tennis tournament. So we brought like a little net and had the bins up. We put all the tape around the outside. We used to have absolute, honestly, how many arguments did we used to have playing it?
It wasn't just that.
The most.
We went in there and then, Boydy, I'm not winding you up, mate. We had the full team playing a head tennis tournament and sometimes we're leaving. They had to stop it because it was getting beyond belief. Boys were, honestly, there was ref. Boys were like John McEnroe, let's get on there, what's happening? All that. So.
I know, I can remember speaking to a couple of, it was Darren Fletcher actually who was saying about and you'd have been the same, John, like with the boxes and everything, they took it very serious and, like people, they're going to training sometimes, and especially nowadays, they think it's a laugh and a joke, but see even the likes of the head of tennis, how important was that even when you were growing up to improve your touch and your awareness and everything round about you as a youngster growing up as well?
Massive, and it served me so well because I think I was more or less undefeated against Odds and Wheelo. So I used to. It's funny though because you talk about the kind of boxes there. So again, I think players nowadays look at a box of going, "Oh, let's have a laugh." When I was at Chelsea, you had a box, and it was like you used to be ruthless and go, "How long can we keep the 2 in the middle for?" Mm-hmm. You do a 10-minute box, and there'd be probably 2 turnovers or changeovers from the ones in the middle because the standard was that good. And everyone was so competitive and just wanted to be the best and never wanted to go in.
You've got that in common. I was never in the middle either, but
that's need to be at every.
Me somebody was never out the middle. He'd have been trying nutmegs and all that, was he?
Do you want to tell you something, JT? Boydy, he could only get himself. He could only get himself. There wasn't allowed to. There wasn't enough space.
He used to do 18 yard
Boydy's only getting himself.
I have to say, right? I have to say, Snods was the most competitive player probably I've met in my career. Just an absolute winner. We used to start training at 10:30. We'd be out at 10 o'clock. Pretty much doing that 2-touch and testing each other and having a bit of banter, and that's the levels, and that's why he's playing at the top.
See on that when you speak about, and I know everybody likes a laugh and a joke, and we all get these wee challenges and stuff like that, like to keep you up things and that. But see for yourself, what did you do like on the training field? Because your passing was unbelievable, your touch was unbelievable. How did you? Both feet, you could do it with your right, you could do it with your left. That didn't just happen by chance. You must have worked on that. What did you do to become the complete player that you became?
I remember I left home at 16 and went and stayed at Chelsea in Diggs from 16 to 18. So I lived around the corner from the training ground, and we used to start training and finish probably our jobs like cleaning dress rooms and toilets probably around 2 o'clock. And Graham Ricks and Ray Wilkins was assistant managers at the time, and they'd be sitting there whilst I'm cleaning the boots. They'd be like, "Right, get your boots on. We're going, practice some pinging." And it sounds like we used to do it for probably 15, 20 minutes. But Graham Ricks, being left-footed, had like the sweetest left foot you could imagine. And then Ray Wilkins would go right foot. And I was just watching 2 players technically that were unbelievable. So I used to pick Graham's mind. How do you drill it like that with your left foot? Ray used to do it with the outside of his right and then his left as well. Like both, Rixie wasn't 2-footed, but Ray was like incredible. And I played 2-touch with him. And I used to get buzzed off from the lads. Lads used to say, "Oh, you're being busy out with the staff." But they'd kind of go home to their families. But because I was in Diggs, I had nothing to go home to. So I was like, how can I? Do you feel as if
that point, Jay? Do you feel as if that point in your career where if you'd ever had that sort of desire to try and be better, do you feel as if you would have got to the levels you'd have got to try and keep driving? Because you know, me and Boydy were talking about it before. Was you know, there's certain lads now who probably don't grasp how good an opportunity they've got once they get in the first team. And everything I say to the young lads when they come in now is, this is you here. You've got here on hard work, but you know, how can you stay here? How can you? This is your level now. Yeah, exactly. So, do you feel as if because you had that, do you feel as if it helped you throughout?
Snods 100%. And like I say, we used to finish our training as youth team. The first thing I used to do, I used to run over to watch the first team train. And literally, like, we'd finish and I'd go sprinting over to watch the end of the first team session. And probably in that first year, I was 16, probably on 3 occasions, a player went down injured in the small-sided game at the end of training, and I was the only one there. So Gullit used to say to me, or Vialli, JT, in you come. All of a sudden, I'm training with the first team. And it's like little bits like that. And like I say, I used to go in the dressing room. The lads used to absolutely hammer me. What are you doing? That's busy. That's this. I had a plan and a vision from day one that I wanted to be in Chelsea's first team. And that didn't come about from it just happening. It's because I set it out exactly what I wanted to do. And I think with these younger players now, I think what they can do with the money they're earning is the stuff away from it as well. So how they look after themselves, like Snods touched on it earlier with the nutrition side of it, the sleep side of it. He was top on it. I was probably from the age of 25. I had my own chef, I had my own masseur come, I had my own physio come to the house. Was probably well ahead of the game. I'm pretty sure the top players are doing that.
I had my own restaurant. It was called McDonald's.
see that though, Jay. Again, is so you said when you got to 25. I said to Boydy, but when I was 16 to 19, you know, I didn't have a clue what to do. When I went down south, for being obviously playing football in Scotland. I don't know how you found it, Boydy, being down south, but for me was I went to Leeds, and you know, in the Easter breaks, the young kids were coming in at sort of 12, 13 doing squats and lunges, and they had them doing everything. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, I never even seen any of this until I was 19, until I went to Leeds.
Yeah.
I mean, I think here, especially in Scotland, we blame a lot on facilities and stuff like that. But I mean, there's one thing, like any time I've been near any of the English guys or came up against them or everything, there's a dedication, there's a work ethic 24/7 that they want to become better. And in terms of, you know, you're speaking about squats here as well, the sleep patterns and everything. And it's not a coincidence that, you know, the guys, like even when, you know, I remember as a young schoolboy playing against Jermaine Pennant, he moved for 2 or 3 million to Arsenal the following day. It's unbelievable how, you know, the level that you know, the English guys were so far ahead of us. But you know, again, it's down to hard work. It doesn't just happen, John.
No, listen, for me, it does. I think you've got to have a vision of where you want to be, and kind of nothing's going to get in the way of that. But like I said, that comes from hard work and wanting to be the best. So even though you finish, a lot of footballers, you could be out the door by 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock. But then it's the other side of it, then away from that really makes it different. You look at probably the best in the world at Ronaldo. If any young kids out there now watching him, what he's doing and how he looks after himself, there's no better example. And if the best players are doing it and you're kind of not as good as them, then you probably have to do that twice as hard or twice as long as you can get close to them. And it's lucky at Chelsea because we have people like Zola.
So was there someone who you could look at and say, right, okay, I want to be him, but I need to train as hard as him, or I need to train harder? Was there somebody when you were coming through that like you wanted to be before you became, you know, the superstar that you became?
It was probably Marcel Desailly. So they'd just come off in '98. They won the World Cup. France did. So they come in with the World Cup, with their trophies, big cigars, kind of joking against the English and that kind of thing. But he was someone I looked up to on a daily basis. He was unbelievable with me. We're still great friends today. But he always had kind of 5 minutes for me at the end of training. Zola the same as well. Kind of always prepared to kind of show me how to move my feet as a defender and as an attacker who's waiting for this opportunity or that. And again, but I'd go to them and ask them questions. You know, when you face a defender, what are you waiting to see from the defender? How can I improve this?
Yeah.
Or
Do you think, like, see the likes of, because we all live in this social media world now as such with the youngsters and everything, they don't want to be seen as you know, working away on things that you'd expect should be a given now for players at that level. You know, you say players will look at the likes of yourself, John, and say, "Oh, right foot, left foot." It didn't just happen. Where these guys expect things just to happen because of the way they've been brought up. A lot of it's just normal. It just happens, and they seem to get to a stage where it just flows on and flows on and flows on, and then sometimes it becomes it's too late when they realise, "Whoa, I need to start working on other things."
Yeah, I think first and foremost as well, without kind of getting away from it, I think you look at all the best players probably in the world, or that I've played with, the Lamps, Gerrard, Scholes, Beckhams, Drogba's, Ashley Coles, them boys. They was the best trainers every single day, without a shadow of a doubt. And they kind of played their way into the team from Monday to Friday. And then their performances on a match, they took care of themselves. But without a shadow of a doubt, they was the best trainers on a daily basis. They would do the extra work after training. And now if you're a midfielder, say you're, I don't know, Steve Sidwell, and you're trying to get in the team at Chelsea in front of Lamps. Lamps is scoring all these goals. He's doing all the extra work. His stats are through the roof. And you're going, how do I get in that team? You know, it's just an example. And then everyone has to follow. But I'm not sure they know how to be top professionals nowadays, the kids.
Out of your ex-players, who would you like to be in lockdown with right now? Who's got the best banter for you? Ex-Chelsea players.
David Luiz, Diego Costa. It'd be a bundle of fun.
Costa, I'm in lockdown with me. The big man looks mental.
And as a manager, and by the way, you're not allowed to say Avram Grant. So who would you rather have?
Manager-wise, I'd probably say Ancelotti. Just really
quiet leadership.
Quiet leadership. Really good way about him. He'd kind of come down the back of the bus after the game, sit there, talk to the lads. And even when he got sacked at Chelsea, so he got sacked. We played Everton away, we got sacked, and we're sitting on the bus on the way home, and he's come down the bus and gone, "I've just had a call. I'm sacked." And we were like, "No way, no chance." Yeah. Right, when we get back to London, we're taking you out for a night out. So that, and literally all the lads were there. He turned up. It was probably the hardest thing for him to do, but even still now, we still talk to him, and he kind of talks about that night, about how everyone turned up, and just kind of showed him what he kind of meant to us. But he had a great rapport with the lads.
So in terms of your coaching and that now, I mean, what level? You're obviously assistant manager, but you're on your pro license and that right now. Who are you hoping to, and where you hope to get to in the future?
Just on my pro license, I'm on a load of Zoom calls actually during the day and stuff. So progressing along nicely with that, and this has given us a good opportunity to kind of do that. But for me, I clearly want to be a manager. That's a process. I'm really pleased actually that I've come in and had that year at Villa as a player, and I've come in at Villa assisting our manager Dean Smith. Like, for me, it's been a real good learning experience. Even though you could say from the managers I've had and where I've played, this has been a really good grounding for me, and I'm so pleased and lucky, to be honest, that I've done it the way I'm doing it. Now, that doesn't suit everyone. Doesn't mean to say it's the right way for everybody, because Lamps has done that differently. Stevie has in Scotland with Rangers. But for me personally, just seeing firsthand, to take meetings, the preparation that goes into that. As a player, there's certain things you kind of don't see on a daily basis because you're fully focused on your job.
Jay, see, when I spoke to you when we played against you at Villa, are you quite relieved and happy that, you know, you did have that sort of, you know, I know your aspirations is to get into management, but are you quite happy, you know, looking at it now, what you're seeing, you know, being a coach in at Villa, are you quite happy that you've had the year sort of to get under your belt and think, you know, I'm glad I never went full throttle, went in it straight away from actually playing?
Yeah, definitely, Snods. I think if a job would have come up and the right job for me straight away, 100% I would have taken it, because I would have backed myself to go in and deliver what I believe is the right way to approach and set a team up. Now, this has kind of enabled me to kind of do that, but in the background as well, because the manager's the manager. So I'm, like I said, just even how he's dealing with players. Now, we had some big characters in that year we got promoted, you know, Wheelo and Mealy and people like that in the team, Micah Richards. The gaffer had to make some big decisions with some big players. And I was sitting there thinking, yeah, I'm wondering where he's going to go with this. So, gaffer, where are you going with this one? And he'd sit there and he'd just be totally honest with the lads. Listen, your game time's going to be limited, but you're still a big part to play in this group, which they was. and they led by example every day and was superb for us, you know. And without them older players or the way the manager dealt with them, I'm not sure we would have got promoted.
See, when you say that about dealing with bigger characters and everything, did you feel as if like your responsibility inside the dressing room to when you were playing to look after the dressing room that helped the manager? And do you think that's helped you as an assistant manager, having that connection with the captain at Villa or wherever you meet? Will you always have that connection, and how important is that?
I think it's good breeding ground to kind of set yourself up to be a manager. And obviously the years I spent captain and being captain of Chelsea and then Villa after that certainly served me well for sure. Is that going to make me a good manager? No, but will it serve me well? 100% it will. But I'm very kind of lucky that I had them experiences and opportunities. But again, I had managers from my era, Mourinho probably being the most dominant of going, I'm in charge. So on the pitch, everyone listens to what I do. But in the dressing room or in the press and publicly, he gave us the authority that like we was in charge and we was the best players. So within the football club, it was like the whole world was against that dressing room. And it was down to me, Lamps, Peter Cech, Didier, Ballack, Essien, Ash. I mean, with so many big characters, it was probably the easiest time to be captain. Now I get a lot of credit for that. But those guys, 100%, you know, I couldn't have done it without them.
One last one before we probably have to wrap it up. Was there a difference from from coaching, being the captain at Chelsea to England when it was all coming together? Like, you know, the Man United boys, the Liverpool guy, when it was everybody was coming together, was there a big difference then?
Probably, yeah. I think when I first went into the England setup as a young player, it was very much, you probably had the same at Scotland as well, where you kind of go Man United players, Chelsea, Liverpool, and everyone kind of sat in their little pockets. I think over time, that definitely changed in my era, even before I was captain. So it was kind of fully underway of becoming a little bit more like that. Now, I don't think it's ever going to be like that. You're never going to get that because you're not with each other 24/7 like you are at Chelsea or Man United. Yeah. But it was probably as close to I'd seen away from Chelsea that England was like that. And just, you know, we had such a good team, just unlucky not to go on and win anything.
See, touching on that point there, Boydy, I don't know what you felt when I used to get away to start off with. I felt what John was saying. I felt as if it was like that. Everybody used to sit in different things as the years went on. Away with Scotland, more under sort of Stratton, they brought it in where it was, you know, more like a club feel. And I think that's when, you know, for me personally, the results got a lot better under Stratton. And it wasn't just the fact that they're just turning up to play. It was more like a team, more like a club feel.
Well, I think it's important as well, though, because I mean, we spoke about it earlier as well with the training. Sometimes when you're away with the international group, it was never at the level of what you were used to at your club level. And I mean, John, you would have done it as well. Like when you're away in Europe and that all the time, and you're in hotels, and you know your routine is totally gone. You go from, as I said, I've never been one for turning down a meal. So, you know, you go from dinner, then you're back down later on, and then you're back up for breakfast, and it's like 3-4 meals a day and everything, especially when you're away with the international setup. For me, it just didn't really quite sit right, and, you know, in terms of the training and stuff like that. So that was difficult for us. And then, as you said, because similar to England at the time, you know, with Rangers and Celtic, we were always battling against Celtic for league champions. And there was always a we're not getting involved with them kind of type thing. But I think maybe towards the end it kind of started everybody gelling together, because we realised, you know, we hadn't been to a major competition, we still haven't, and whatever we were doing, it wasn't working. So we had to try and do something to improve it. But I mean, it's one of those things when you're the levels that you're at with club levels, the size of clubs you're involved with, it can be difficult to integrate with people, especially at international level, when you go away, because you don't want to give them any tips that might help them on a Saturday and stuff like that with what's going on. So, I mean, it can be very difficult, but for us at Scotland, it was the same old result. We turned up and get beaten, we were back home, we were all sad, that was it. You actually won, John. You just come home from major competitions, sad.
Cheers for that, mate. Yeah.
We're just going to have to wrap up here now, but you know, in terms of your charity, fantastic what you're doing, the stuff you're doing, and if there's a message out there you would like to send to, you know, the world as such right now, what would it be?
just for me, 2 fantastic causes that we can raise money for. So if you head to my Instagram, the link's on my bio. If you can go and donate, there's a couple of challenges there as well. Even if you can't donate, get in the garden. The weather's lovely. Get outside with a family and stay safe, really. But thanks everyone that's donated so far, and appreciate your time tonight, guys.
Brilliant, John. Thanks very much for that.
Cheers, mate. Thanks a lot.
Cheers, Boydy and Snoddy. Thanks a lot, guys. Good luck with it.
Cheers.
Snoddy, brilliant, mate. Honestly, I thought the big man would just have used you as his taxi driver to take him back and forward for Aston Villa, but you're actually still keeping contact with him. That's brilliant. But it's fantastic.
A lot of the boys at West Ham actually said that I was his taxi driver. But you know what? It just shows you. We speak about the power of social media, but you know, I know what the haters are going to say. Oh, you don't know, you don't know him. But you know, the power of social media. I slid up in his DMs and he's come on the show, Boydy. Perfect.
Fair play, brilliant, my man, brilliant. But again, it just shows you, the work that footballers do, ex-players and coaches and that. Some of the stuff he's doing is unbelievable.
No, listen, mate. I think it's incredible the work he's doing. And to be honest with you, I obviously used to travel back home with him a lot of times and get close to him and still in touch with him and what he's done sort of in the game. Sort of. He just the guy is. It just shows you there. Listening to him, I think it's incredible the work he's doing. Somebody that's been at such a high level to give a lot back. To touch on, what the key workers are doing, the NHS are doing, and they make a wish and 500 wishes. I think it's incredible. And us as footballers in this moment in time, it doesn't matter sort of what level you're at. It doesn't matter if we can help anyone at this moment in time, whether it is Boydy, just picking up the phone, asking how somebody is, looking through a sort of lockdown stage like this. This is why we've set it up, to reach out to people. Everybody's going through a time where we're no used to this. Nobody knows. We've never really had this in our life. So if we can use any sort of, John touched on it there about social media platforms or picking up the phone, communications through any sort of networks. I think just reaching out to anybody, friends, family, friends of friends, and saying, listen, how are you getting on? Just pick up the phone, video messages. That's the way we're all communicating. I'm exactly the same, Chris.
See, once we come out of this, I actually think that it could be a good thing, because people actually might be back to actually speaking to each other and stuff like that again. Because I know even myself in the street and everything, you've been speaking with people and you're actually got a conversation. It's the first time I think I've spoke to my missus in about 4 years. So you're back speaking. You're having a laugh and a joke, and rather it's no on the phone 24/7. It's no on social media all the time and everything. But the big thing for me would be pick the phone up, speak to people. If there's people in the, I know that you're not meant to be out and speaking and everything, but if there's people walking past you out in the garden or stuff like that, then there's nothing the matter with saying, how you doing, how you coping with this and that when they're walking past. But it's difficult times for everybody. But I tell you what a compliment the big man paid you there. Never seen anybody. Never seen anybody.
You didn't expect that, did you? You did not expect that. You just see me having a laugh, boy. You don't know what I'm all about. Do you know what I mean? That's the challenge.
Listen, I think for me, I've always been that laughy, jokey type in about a dressing room as well. But there's always that serious side to me. And you strike me as somebody that is the case. That, listen, everybody likes a laugh and a joke. But when it's time to go to work, when it's time to be serious, and it just shows you there. I mean, there's the Chelsea captain, England captain, saying that you're one of the guys that wants to win the most. Brilliant, eh?
But listen, I've touched on I said it to you many times where you speak about it, and there's a you talk about the boxes and stuff there. There's a winning desire. There is time for a laugh and a joke. There's sort of 4 or 5 hours in the boxes every day. We're winding each other up, and Mark Noble, Creswell, Fredericks, Declan Rice, and what a laugh we're having. But when it's time to work, you've got your boys, your leaders in the dressing room, your Zabalettas, Bonas, Noble, fine example. And these guys have played at a very high level. And you think to yourself, why do they still get that desire to go and win?
That's why they're
exactly
at. That's why they stay at the top.
That's why they're at. People speak about Barry Ferguson, and and say about him exactly as a winner, and that's quite hard to teach, to be honest with you, Boydy, and especially in the way the sort of the game's kind of going now with the as I said to you, everybody's sort of doing their own thing and different things, and young kids are coming in, but I'm yet to see a young kid come in and put his stamp. The closest I've seen is a young boy, Declan Rice. He's come in and he's a proper winner. He's a leader. He's got the core of the boys. He's gelled in perfectly. And the other lads are probably just young and try and find a way. And it's up to us as the older boys of the team to try and breed that into them. If it's in training, it's a tackle, or it's the recovery run. That's what it's all about. And do you think they're taking it easy at Sunday League? Do you? Let's be honest, they're getting right into the back of each other. They want to win. It doesn't matter because they all want to be sitting in the boozer after it. You've pulled it.
I've never been as low as Stirling Albion, but that's probably another show. Bring that up. We'll have a conversation about that in another one. We'll see how good your banter is then. But by the way, we can't finish here tonight. We need to go back to what you have done and everything. Your man Mac Hancock had a go at you as well. Had a go at the English Premier League players and everything. What have you done and the things that you have done to help everybody in this situation here? Because he's come in for a lot of the Premier League players come in for a lot of criticism that it's probably unfair.
No, listen, you sit and watch that, and it's hurtful. It's furious. It was infuriating me, to be honest with you. I'm sort of one that usually sits and lets the political side, maybe people take it still. I don't really focus on it. But once they come for you and you're doing a lot of charity work yourself, and we're sort of behind the scenes and sort of how can we play our part to try and help the NHS? I'm already donating to local charities to help them charities, because that's one thing I've always done. I've grew up in the East End of Glasgow. It was a very rundown area, so to try and give a bit back to anybody in certain situations, whether it's down south Glasgow, and for him to come out on national news and kind of come for it wasn't just a player, it was an organisation. It was like the Premier League is an organisation. So my biggest thing was writing to him, and I was looking for him to write back to me because I want to see his side on it and say, well, Matt, as an organisation over 500 players, we've paid our taxes, like everybody else, over £1 billion in taxes, not even in national insurance and the National Health Service. A lot of the players probably aren't using that because we've obviously lads pay for like a private healthcare because they maybe want to do that because the NHS is to go to the people who are maybe not in a privileged position to use it. So that side it comes in, and then I'm looking going, you've came for us on national news, and you don't even know the work that's going on behind the scenes. But then don't come out on Twitter and try and take credit for it. You know what I mean? That's what really got to me, and I'm thinking, no, Matt, that's not the situation. So if you could give me an answer, I was wanting an answer because I just found it harsh, and I found it difficult. And sort of the football people know. And listen, everybody else, they pay their taxes, and I totally get that. I wasn't kind of to come across as that. It was the fact is, yeah, I understand that, but you're not getting called out on national news to take a deduction when you're already doing. If we took a deduction, if we take a deduction, it's only going to affect the National Health Service and the government because it's less tax towards them. So I don't think it was. I'll be honest. I don't think he was fighting about the situation. I think it was a panic answer because he was put in the spot. So listen, I get that they've got a tough job, but listen, we've got a job as role models when we're putting hard work and going behind the scenes to try and get and push everybody to try and create that vibe to try and give everything back to the NHS, give everything back to the key workers, the real people, and then he's coming out and criticising you for actually doing that. It's crazy, and as I said to you, it's no one that. That I've quite enjoyed. So the work that we were doing behind the scenes was, the full Premier League, every team will be donating money to the NHS, whether it's going to mass, whether it's going to beds or medications or everything that can help the NHS, the players players together, hashtag players together. You can see it on your obviously Twitters, Instagrams, everybody's seen it, and everybody's pulled in the right direction to try and create a good vibe to say, these are the people that listen, boy. They're keeping us alive. They're keeping our families alive, friends, the general public. These are the real heroes, mate. So for Matt and his situation, I totally get it. But don't focus on us. Focus on coming together to help the real heroes.
I think that's the big thing, though. Sorry, that everybody, and everybody in the world right now needs to come together and look after each another. But I'm glad that everything it's been sorted out now. And I mean, again, we spoke about John, the work he's doing, but the work the Premier League do behind the scenes is unbelievable. He's a credit to the game as well. So you should be proud of that as well. Not only the way he's entertaining a Saturday and stuff like that, but the other stuff that goes on there. But I had to cut you off there, as you can see. I was nearly going to have to do the night shift with you with the rant you were going on there. But well, maybe. It's been a great episode of the first one. Lockdown tactics, brilliant, great name. What have we got coming up? Who are you getting? Phone book. Who's your next one?
Listen, Boydy. I think that the best thing is, get the inside stories of sort of what goes on. Everybody's missing that between 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock buzz right now. Everybody's missing that on a Saturday. So if me and yourself can try and help people in certain situations, this is why we're trying to reach out to people. We're all in the same boat. We're going through exactly the same situation. So, if it's for us to try and, tell a bit about us, but the biggest thing for me, the new Boydy, is trying to keep that routine. And one of the routines I've been in with, obviously, my kids and different things, is watching box sets at night, So I'm going to tell you my favourite, Money Heist, Boydy, Money Heist. Get on it.
By the way, never ever. I used to get slagged every dressing room I was in. What you watching? All I used to watch was football. That was it. And a little bit of David Attenborough. That was it. Nothing else. Nothing else. Oh, unbelievable. Honestly.
I wish I was in that dressing room. You had an absolute Kenji as well, boy.
No, but what I was about to say is, see the last few weeks. I mean, I finished. I tell a lie. I had watched Narcos before. In fact, you actually looked like one of the characters out here. But
you're getting that cash ready.
But I finished watching that, the Mexican one. I'm on to Tiger King. Woofed. That is.
No, I've heard about it, mate. I've heard about it. That'll be my next one after Money Heist.
Well, any more of your cheating, I might just tell you what happens and waste it for you. But
don't do it, mate. Don't do it. There's something to do. There's something. Why would you put me through that?
Great first episode of Lockdown Tactics. Brilliant. Good work again. And as you said, next time we're on, hopefully we might have I might have a few stories about the current England captain you used to play with. Well, that brings us to the end of our first podcast. Brilliant. Remember, John Terry's Instagram, Twitter, go there, you can donate. Fantastic story from the big man. Brilliant to come on. But remember, everybody, take care.
And stay safe.